Hello everyone, Elementalist here. I'm making a bit of a build video because it's by and far the most common question I get asked. What does my build look like and how do I avoid the time-gated celestial crafting as much as possible? So, step number one is to get completely naked. It's an essential part of build crafting to get naked all the time, trust me. The first thing you want to do is add celestial pieces until you have about 350 to 400 of every stat points as a solid base to work off. Important to note is that it can be any pieces of celestial you want, so if you happen to have any lying around, or if you want to avoid waiting a long time on your quartz crystals, try to go for the biggest pieces and as few pieces as possible, because you'll have to craft for 5 days for every one of them, and try to buy some celestial pieces with laurels to avoid the time gate as much as possible. So once you have around 370, 350 to 400s, all acceptable, of celestial, you want to fill up until your armor gets to a decent level with knights. So I have me a knight's amulet and a knight's dagger. Again, it doesn't matter what pieces, just as long as your stats look a little something like this. And then you fill in with zerk to get more damage. My back piece is soldiers, doesn't really matter what your back piece is, just as long as you try to hit these milestones in stats somewhat. So with buff foods, these stats would look a little something like this. This is the food you'll be using. So yeah, let's get into the traits. Traits are air, water, arcane. Water, extremely standard, regen, cleanse. Arcane, also standard. There's a bit of a debate on elemental contingency versus final shielding. But since final shielding is a life-saving proc, which helps a lot versus the thieves and mesmers, especially mesmers that are running around these days, I much prefer it. Besides, the only boon you're even remotely interested in from elemental contingency would be protection, which is on a pretty short duration. So I go final shielding. Air attunement, I go Zephyr's boon to push me up to perma swiftness and perma fury. Perma swiftness is an absolute must in World v World, so there's no real debate here. If you happen to have perma swiftness some other way, maybe through a teammate or through a rune choice, I'm not sure, this is an extremely good option as well. Aeromancer's training is an amazing trait. It reduces the cooldown on 3 of your most important abilities, being Shocking Aura, Ride the Lightning, and Updrafts. Especially Ride the Lightning on this cooldown you'll get addicted to before you know it. It gives you so much more control over the engagement. You can use it untargeted to get out of situations without being punished by the brutal 40-second cooldown that's connected to it. And if you do hit it, it'll literally be up every time you swap to air almost, which makes rangers and mesmers have a lot harder time kiting you. Lightning Rod does very nice damage on CC, and especially with the nice dramatically reduced cooldown on Shocking Aura and Updrafts. This will become a large source of damage and will make your air combo just as deadly as your fire combo. Skill-wise, we run Signet, Armor, Mist, Flash, and FGS. Ether might sound appealing due to the mask lens and because we have cantrips traded, but since it's unreliable and because it takes a lot of pressure away from you when you channel it for 3.5 seconds, I'd advise against using it. Besides, it's easily interrupted and might leave you dead because of it. There's no real debate to be had on Armor and Lightning Flash. These almost never leave my bar. Well, they literally never leave my bar when I play this spec. There are some people that prefer Cleansing Fire over Mists, and even fewer that prefer Shield over Mists. Cleansing Fire has an advantage in Condi 1v1s, obviously, and if you do feel like you are getting completely loaded with conditions, this one might help you. And Shield helps versus power-based classes, but only in 1v1s because it has a really long cooldown. But in all honesty, Mist is the only real utility that will have any value when you start going outnumbered, because of the safe stomp, and in group combat because of the reses and such. There is no real situations where you'd have to swap out mist, so I'd keep this on my bar pretty much always. FGS is an amazing skill. It saves my life probably 20 times a day without even exaggerating. Its main focus is mobility. Pretty much nothing can really catch you while you have FGS up, since the mobility skills are on a dramatically low cooldown. But it's also a decent damage bonus when your big hits are on cooldown in your daggers, since the 5 skill can do really nice damage, especially for down cleave. The whirl does really good damage, and finally the leap, after so many patches, does respectable damage as well. So yeah, that's about it. I'll answer any questions you have down below, and I'll see you soon.